So let me go through something here, and I'm going to give you some reasons, or rather some ideas, 7, if you will, that might help you not to spool up. 7 ideas to not spool up with your kids. Number 1, you can choose not to react, and that is to respond in a way that's not hostile.
That really is important. That thing you want to do first, the yelling, the screaming, that's reacting.
Jumping out of your skin.
Yeah, and your kids look forward to it, I think. They know what's coming, and, if I can get a rise out of you, then, I can get you off track, and I won't have to do it.
I'm going to, if you will, elaborate that a little bit, because I find that many parents have anticipation of negative things to occur. And their mindset is when the child comes in, they say, well, where's my glasses, or where's my wallet, or,
right.
Any one of a number of things that kids complain about. There's this anticipation that when the child comes, it's going to be something negative anyway.
Right.
And ultimately, I think that gets us to the point of becoming reactive, because we're so loaded with this expectation of one more negative thing to occur that we overreact. We tend to explode. The second one, if you will, is, remind yourself that patience is on your side. Patience is on your side. Let me explain to you what we found out, what we learned from our own personal experience. It seems like I've been working really hard to get my son to do the dishes after we've eaten dinner. And I can tell you that over a period of months, it's always gotten to be where I'm having to remind myself that, yes, one more time, dinner's over, and I'm going to have to say, hey, it's time to do the dishes. Well, the other day, I was absolutely astonished when dinner was over how he just marched into the kitchen and started doing dishes. And I had a tendency, I really wanted to say, way to go, because he got it. The light bulb went on. I just have to apply pressure uniformly, consistently. I have to be patient because it works. You have to give yourself time. And you have to give the child, because if you just apply the rule, and don't get angry, don't get crazy, just, hey, look, it's time to do the dishes.
Right.
Given enough time, it's going to work.
Given enough time. Yep.
Let's try number 3.
Inventory your pattern of hot topics.
Yeah.
The things that your kids do or child does that you don't like, the areas that you have frustration with them, maybe the areas where you yell and scream, or the things you just have given up on and you just aren't going to go there and talk to them about it at all anymore.
Religiously, when weekends, my son typically has several kids that come over and they'll spend the night. And one of my, reactive hot topics is I can always go in that room Saturday morning.
Oh, my God.
And it's trash. And yet,
it's beyond trash.
And yet I caught myself and I said, why don't I apply what I teach? And why don't I just walk in the room knowing it's going to be trashed, and instead of reacting,
it's like
which
it's a
was
surprise.
my typical self.
Yeah.
Again, it's a hot topic, people situation. The topic is your room's a mess. The situation is any Saturday morning.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And the people, of course, any kids involved from around the neighborhood that don't live with me that can trash my house and live. So there it is.
Right.
And I walked in the room and I just sort of said, breathe into it, rather than react. Say, okay, guys, let's get everything cleaned up. No one leaves the room. All the games are turned off. Xbox, PlayStation, they're all turned off. No one leaves the room until the room is put away. Right. And it worked. It worked. I have to inventory myself of the times that I tend to blow it, and then say, look, any idiot can make a bad situation worse,
one of ours,
but it takes skill to make one better. What can I do differently? So identify the pattern, try to do something different.
The next one is snap the rubber band.
Yeah, I put that one on there.
I know, and I remember it. I don't know that I remember the full story, but I know what the technique is.
If you find yourself succumbing frequently to the kids, and sometimes it might work if you're on vacation, you put a rubber band around your hand. And
Not
you wear
so
it,
tight
you
that
wear
it
it on
cuts
your
the
wrist.
circulation off and
you
your
wear it
fingers
on your
are
wrist, yeah. And you snap the rubber band, snap it right on your wrist, not to hurt yourself, but to remind yourself, okay, this is a test. This is a time that I have to recognize as, okay, I'm going to lose it. So we snap the rubber band and sort of it begins sort of a 10-second or a 20-second timeout.
Right.
And I begin to go to the next part.
I just did that one.
Take a deep breath. You snap the rubber band. Okay, I'm here. Now the next, you take a deep breath. You relax. You breathe into it. You put your mind outside of this negative energy, put it into a better place, and then finally.
Yeah, and do you see how we're not reacting with these? You're just not going,
Just something easy.
You know, it's like a self-distract. Some of these are self-distracting. Okay, rather than just losing it now, let me just back up a little bit.
It's an awareness.
Figure out what I want to do.
And then
the next one is push negative thoughts out. And then you have pace, not speed.
Yeah, we picked up on that when we were skiing out in Colorado. And there's a tendency for people to start at the highest point and try to ski to the bottom as fast as they can. And I'm sure it's the thrill, and I'm sure it's thrill seeking to an extreme that, wow, look how fast I'm going. But the truth is, as you're, careening down these mountain slopes at 40, 50 miles an hour, there's other people that you can run over and potentially hurt. So they have signs everywhere that say pace, not speed.
Right.
Get a good pace, one that's comfortable to you, and enjoy the trip. Now, the reason I put that there about pushing negative thoughts out of your mind, being a parent is about endurance. It's about setting a pattern that allows for you to catch yourself when you might lose it. It means you have to stay positive. It means you have to understand that children have developmental stages that they're working through.
Right.
One big one for me is to remind every parent that a child is not a small version of an adult.
Right, they're not.
We tend to look at them at 5 or 7 or 9 or 11, and we tend to talk to them like they're a peer. We don't realize they don't have wisdom. They don't have experiential knowledge. That we didn't talk about it yet, though. We're going to. Lying.
Yeah, it's coming.
Kids, we're going to talk about that, about kids and lying. But that kids exaggerate the truth, tend to use facts to their best advantage.
Yeah. And one of the other things we were talking about earlier coming out here is that, part of that push negative thoughts out is because we tend to overgeneralize. There is a distortion. We think,
Sure.
And because we think it's always, we do a lot of that. And we go back to that, just anticipation of what